Yo, what up? This is Dark, and here's a Mythic Plus guide for the Cinderbrew Meadery. When making these guides, I'm hoping to help people who are getting into Mythic Plus, as well as anyone who's still struggling with the mechanics. So when you're in that pug environment, you can be an asset to the party instead of being the reason you fail the keys. And for anyone interested in trying out tanking and understanding the routing, here's a basic route of what I do when I'm just pugging. Like and subscribe if this helped you at all. So when you first step into the room to the right side, you want to pull one of the higher muscles one at a time, because the higher muscles do heavy damage. They do heavy AoE damage, so you don't want to stack all that damage up, or you could wipe your party pretty easy pulling too many of these guys. They'll always throw a chair at a random player, and then they'll do an AoE like Cake Smash. And then you got the Pyromaniac dudes who will do like a laser beam that's kickable, and then they'll do a cast on a player that's going to put a red circle around that player, pulsing damage. That's also dispellable, but just make sure you're not stacking on your teammates with that circle. And then for tanks, the Patreons, they're going to put a stacking bleed on you, so just make sure you're aware of that bleed and you don't bleed out. Going on to the mini boss, when you're able to, you want to pull this guy solo or with very few mobs, so he's not buffing the rest of the mobs around him, because that's what he does. He'll buff all the mobs around him. And he has a couple abilities. Tenderize is a big slam that will just do unavoidable AoE damage. And then he's got throwing stakes or raising stakes or some crap like that, where he's just throwing stakes around. It's just like obvious brown circles on the floor, so don't step on those bad boys. And then for the first boss, the Brew Master, he's going to be doing Cake Smash to the tank. And after he smashes you, it's going to spill honey puddles on the floor. This will do dot damage and slow you down if you're standing or walking through them. And he'll also throw a brewery at a random DPS or the healer. And that will also create one of these puddles. So as the tank, you want to just kite him around, away from all the puddles, so you don't have to worry about standing in those. And then he'll be doing a fire belch like frontal cone at one player. And then at 66% and 33%, the boss will go behind the bar serving drinks. You need to take these drinks and serve them to the NPCs who are all glowing red around the room. Once you do that, you'll be able to fight the boss again. And then there'll be smoke clouds that will chase each person in the room. So, just like before where there were smoke clouds, you're going to be kiting the boss just around the room, avoiding the puddles and the smoke clouds. And then it's just rinse and repeat. You do this again at 33%. There'll be another smoke cloud for each player. So, but same thing. It gets a little hectic, but you just want to keep kiting. All right, so in the second area for the IPA boss, there's going to be a couple hallways. You're going to be fighting the same pyromaniacs that do the same fire abilities. And then there's going to be some flavor scientists who will be doing rejuvenating honey. That's a heal. So you want to make sure you're kicking that heal. And you're going to have these big ogre guys who are going to charge at one of the random player. It can even be the tank. You want to charge him as close as you can, because the damage is the same regardless of how close, how far he is. You just, want to keep uptime on him as much as you can. When he slams into the wall, he's going to be dropping some droplet dudes, non-elites. You kill those, they're going to leave puddles on the ground. Don't stand in the puddles. When the big ogres die, they'll drop like 5 of those guys, little puddle guys. So make sure you're killing all of those and gain aggro on them, all that good stuff. And make sure you're not standing on those puddles. All right, for the boss IPA, when this guy gets to full energy, he's going to start just spinning all crazy. He's going to be shooting out yellow circles all over the room. And then there's going to be 3 orange circles, and those are going to spawn ads. Obviously, don't stand on any of the circles, but when these ads spawn, you have to start kiting them, and the focus needs to be on the ads, because if any of these ads touch the boss, he gets a humongous shield, and you're most likely just going to wipe because you're going to run out of room, and it's going to get crazy. But yeah, focus the ads and make sure you're killing them in a timely manner. Tanks, make sure you're kiting the boss away from the ads and helping slow and, stun and all that stuff as much as you can. If ads do not die in a timely manner, they can enrage and they'll get faster and bigger, and you won't be able to really kite them, and they're going to catch up to the boss. So yeah, burn those ads down. Once you kill those ads, there'll be big puddles. Just don't touch those puddles. When the puddles go away, those same ads are going to spawn. And then when he spins again later in the fight, he's going to create 3 more ads. So you're going to get, 6 ads, and then if you're fighting the boss for even longer, you're gonna get 9 ads that you're gonna have to deal with eventually. The boss will also do a dot that he'll spray on some random players. I believe it's dispellable, or a healer dispelled it eventually, but they were taking heavy damage for no reason, which is a good time. And other than that, he has an uppercut for the tanks, so it's a knock back and a knock up that does pretty heavy damage, so make sure you're ready for that. And that's it for this guy, man. Alright, the bottom area of the dungeon where all the bees are. You're going to have these guys that are going to be doing a bazooka. They're the bee wranglers. That bazooka ability will do a line to a random player. Just make sure no one else is in that line, so no one else is taking extra damage. They'll also do bestial wrath that will increase the damage of their allies, so make sure you're kicking that. The big bees, when they're about to die, they'll do final sting. It's just like a heavy hit. You kill them before the cast gets off or interrupted or whatever. The hyenas will do some AoE that will spread a dot to everyone, and you're going to be taking more and more damage the longer that hyena's up, because it just stacks up and you'll take more physical damage from that. So make sure you're killing them in a timely manner. And then they'll also do this big AoE spin thing that will stun you for like 10 seconds, so just don't stand in that huge circle that they create. And then the troll guys do like a random dot that will do some damage but slow you by like 70%. And then the little bees have a dispellable like magic dot that's on the tank usually, you know, so you just want to make sure your stacks don't get too high, but they're non-elites, they usually die pretty fast, so you should be good with them. All right, so for the Buzzbee boss over here, his gimmick is he's gonna summon a bunch of bees with these barrels that will spawn. The DPS and the healer, you want to make sure you're killing the bee ads, jump on top of them, you can ride them, and you run them into the barrels to destroy those barrels. If you don't do this, the room will get overwhelmed and you'll be surrounded by like 1,000 bees, and it just makes it harder and harder. As for everything else, tanks, you get a circle dot on you that after a few seconds will leave a puddle of honey on the ground that starts off small and then gets, you know, medium size, I guess. And that you just want to spread around the room, usually on the edges away from the team, because that dot, if you're in that puddle, does heavy damage. And then everyone else, you want to make sure you are ready for his little wind blast. It's an AoE that's just going to pulse and push you back to the walls. Just make sure you're not, you know, standing in front of one of these puddles, because if you get pushed into the puddles, you're most likely going to die as a DPS or the healer. And then, like I said, a lot of people I've seen, they don't ride the bees at all, and it gets a little crazy. So if you're in one of these pug groups, be a good bee rider and jump on one of those bees after you kill them and blow up the barrels. All right, for the final boss room, you head back to the first boss room. You jump on the bees to fly up to the final boss room. You fight these 4 dudes, the yes mans. You want to target one at a time, because when one dies, they all fully heal. So make sure, you know, you're marking if you need to, or hopefully your group all decides to kill the same one to make it go a little quicker. And then once you get that done with, you're going to be fighting the actual boss, the B.E.O, final boss. All right, for Goldie Baron Bottom, her gimmick is she's going to put a crap ton of barrels all over the rooms. You want to blow up as many barrels as you can before your intermission phase, so it's not as crazy. So for the tanks, you're going to get cash cannon on you, which is a huge frontal. You want to take the hit, no one stand behind them. You want to aim it at as many barrels as you can, because whatever barrels get hit will explode and, you know, do their wave mechanic before the intermission phase. And then for DPS and healers, you will get red circles on you, and you can use these circles again to blow up, you know, barrels. So try to get as many barrels in those circles as you can before her intermission phase. And then once her intermission phase happens, she'll jump on her little table. You'll start shooting her gun all over the place, and it's going to blow up the remaining barrels. But if you've done a good job of clearing out barrels before this phase, you won't have to deal with that many waves, and you could just, like, you know, get as much uptime on the boss as you can and blast her into the goddamn past. You fuck that beat.
Warcraft legends under his control.